X-Men. Get it!
Hey everyone, and welcome to another exciting episode of Battle of the Atom. This is your weekly X-Men podcast where we rank every story from A to Z.
I'm Adam.
And I'm Zach and Adam.
Zach!
I'm feeling like a dad today. What are you feeling like?
Did you say you're feeling like a dad?
Yeah, like a dad, like a father, a parent.
Don't you feel like that every day? I mean, you like literally are a dad.
Look, that's true, but I did homeowner stuff today. I fixed a door. I put up shutters. I found out my HVAC system was having some challenges with the condensate drain. It's a blast.
This doesn't sound like, this sounds like, what's that PBS show? This Old House? This sounds more like that than dadding.
Is that not what dads do? Is houses?
I mean, they do, but, you know, I don't know. This is like a Bob Vila kind of thing going on right now. You're taking pride in your home. I like that.
Look, all I'm saying is everyone who owns a house is a dad. Isn't that right, Charlie?
Yeah, I'd have to probably say so. I don't disagree with Adam's This Old House reference, however.
Guys, Charlie Davis is here this week.
Hi.
Noted Shatterstarologist.
Yes.
Charlie, you're here today because we're talking about stories that someone on this podcast may have suggested.
Mm-hmm.
That involve something that's near and dear to your heart.
Mm-hmm.
And that is, of course, mid-90s X-Force.
Yes. Purple X-Force, or blue and yellow X-Force, or some combination of those colors also.
Strappy X-Force?
Lots of X's everywhere, X-Force.
Yeah, there's a lot of X's on this team, and it's a fun set of stories today. And I'll tell you, this is possible, one, because Charlie's our friend, and two, because they went on over to patreon.com/XavierFiles and have been a supporter of this show more than anyone else. I want to say from a fiscal standpoint, that's true.
My heart and my money is all in on you guys.
And that's very beautiful. Charlie also is a co-host of the sometimes updated podcast, The Young Ones, and is currently a player on the podcast Exiled that also friend of the show Luke Hare runs. It is very good. I did not know Charlie was going to be on the show, and it surprised me because I've been listening to that thing for 150 some weeks.
It's okay. I jumped in on a new dynamic, and I hope it's enjoyable and continues to be enjoyable going forward.
Now, if you want to be like Charlie, first thing you've got to do is make a lot of friends and go on their podcasts, and then give their podcasts a lot of money by going over to patreon.com/XavierFiles, and then we'll craft an entire episode around your unique interests. Now, let's just get this thing going. Adam, what's the first story we're going to talk about today?
We're going to go in, I think, chronological order here. So this is an era where the X-Force annuals are also called X-Force and Cable. So we're going to start way back in 1995 with X-Force and Cable Annual 95.
It's titled Fun, Fun, Fun.
It is fun. We've got a time-honored X-Annual tradition in here, which is the appearance by the inimitable Impossible Man.
Does he have another name, or is it just the Impossible Man?
Does he have like a Mixoplex kind of thing going on? Or?
I know that one of his children who does not appear in this story, his name is Adolf Impossible.
Oh no.
That's a Matt Fraction thing.
That's a bad choice.
It is. It's a good story, though. Have you read Fraction in Allred's FF?
I believe that it's a good story. I don't know if I believe that that's a good choice, though.
I think that's fair. He has no real name because, according to the Marvel Wikia, Papupians, which is the race that he's from, have no names.
That's fair. I just wanted to know if it was like the DC man who's also obsessed with Batman sometimes has a name.
Are you talking about Batmite?
Something like that.
Hold on, we're gonna find this out real quick. Charlie, tell us who's the creative team on this while I Google search Batmite.
Oh my god. Well, Jeff Loeb wrote this book.
Of course.
Professional television executive Jeff Loeb, the man who has done a lot of things. Guys, look up Jeff Loeb's Wikipedia page. It's wild.
It's pretty interesting.
It's the fact that he was doing this and then is just a TV man now is kind of absurd. I see him up on those Marvel panels all the time, and I'm like, man, you wrote some really weird stories in the 90s. We go off, I guess.
Charlie!
What?
I have to bleep that!
I'm sorry, I had to say that.
Is weird.
Jeff Loeb wrote this story, and it was drawn by Matt Ryan and Rurik Tyler. So have at that.
Yes. Also, Batmite does not have a name.
Okay, that's
good
fair.
to know.
According to the Batman Wikia, which I don't
So it's
trust.
not the Mr. Mitzelplick, whatever. That's a different
Mr.
character. I think.
Mitzelpixic?
That's a guy with a little top hat.
Okay.
Batmite is the Batman version of Mr. Mixelpicklick, and the Impossible Man is the Marvel version of all of them.
Okay.
They're fifth dimensional imps.
Also, this book's got a lot of inkers on it.
Surprise.
Mark Pennington, Andrew Pepe, Ian Axon. Anyway, y'all know what very good anime trope this book does?
Well, I believe we're starting with, instead of a time-honored tradition of baseball in X-Men books, we have a 2-page spread right off the bat of some volleyball.
Yeah, it's a beach episode here. Because Cable rented out an entire resort so X-Force could play volleyball because he's good.
Yeah, he's kind of the best dad, huh?
Yeah, he really is the best dad. And now we're seeing how I wrap this all into my beginning rant.
Is Cable rich? Because, like, he's throwing money around all in this. Like, he's just throwing money. Like, literally throwing money. Is he rich? I never really think of Cable as being, like, Emma
do you
Frost
need money?
rich.
Do you need money in the far future?
I don't know. I feel like you would need, like, some sort of weird credit system.
I was gonna say maybe it's credits, but also I feel like, you know how Shatterstar had a lot of money that he saved from being a mercenary, and he was able to buy an apartment building.
Okay.
Like,
Yeah.
maybe
That tracks.
Maybe Cable just has a lot of money from being some sort of time mercenary, and he just saved it all.
Can I postulate
Yeah.
something?
Sure.
He has the sports almanac from Back to the Future, too.
Good point.
I mean, it's really all he needs. I mean, he could do microtransactions on, like, a pretty regular basis for several decades. And though one of the things that's weird about all the stories we're going to talk about today is how young Cable looks in all of them.
Yeah.
It seems like he's, like, de-aging in this era. I mean, maybe more in the other stuff we're going to talk about, but he seems to be getting progressively less grizzly.
You also have to remember that he went from being, like, the most grizzled, like, kind of stereotype of a character to, like, being a dad, basically.
Yeah.
All throughout this run of X-Force, and it continues on to the back end. So I think half of it's the art, and I think just the shift in temperament that Cable also had.
So this is interesting. Cable, like any dad on vacation, is very frustrated. Because the Impossible Man does show up and demand that Cable be a good dad to his children, his three strapping lads, and says, "Hey, put my kids on X-Force." And Cable says no. So the Impossible Man does shenanigans. Do we have a favorite Impossible Man shenanigan?
I do like the crabs early on. I'm a big crab supporter. I really enjoy it, those crustaceans. I like that. The art makes it hard for me to look at this entire thing. I have the floppy of this.
Right, as one does.
And, you know, I get what they were going for here. and I think it's very silly and fun, but it's so hard for me to look at. The art is very cartoony, and I think that's really what this is obviously going for. But
Well, it's an Impossible Man story.
yes, and I get it, but like, I don't know. I think the best goof here, I think, is the monster at the end, who they think's the Impossible Man, but it's actually really a monster. Like, I like that. That was good. But let me just tell you, it hurts my eyes to look at this sometimes.
Wow,
I want to defend this art, because we're going to talk about two other stories. And my entire reaction was, wow, those other two stories have some bad art. This one's fine, I guess. It's not great, and especially when you compare it to, like, Adam Polina, who was the main artist around this time. It doesn't hold up as well, by any means. But I don't have the same visceral gut reaction to this as you do. I think the art suits the style. I think the art does a very good job with the majority of X-Force, making them feel like they're kids and having fun on vacation. There's a lot of good humor and body language with them, and that I appreciate.
I have no issues with this art whatsoever. I think that the biggest detriment to it, though, is just that when we see this is, I mentioned before, something that has happened before in the annuals. And so when you see Impossible Man turn up with this cast, how could you not think back to that classic New Mutants annual where Impossible Man goes up against Warlock, and you're not going to beat the art in that issue.
Well, is that Art Adams?
No, I believe that is Alan Davis.
Okay, yeah, that would do it.
Yeah, that'll do it every time.
That you're just you're flirting with danger there. Though I think that the cartoony style that's in this is great. You know, it's great for the volleyball. It's great for Impossible Man becoming Cable's teacup or coffee cup.
That's my favorite one, because he says, I love this stuff. It's ridiculous, but I love it. And it's like, Cable, we are simplicado right here. We are the same, you and I. Same.
Can somebody tell me when the movie The Mask came out?
Oh, that's a great
1994, I think.
Let's see. The Mask is 94. Good job, Zach.
Okay.
Man, great call, Zach. I do
That's
not
what
need
this-
to know if that movie holds up.
The Impossible Man
It
is just
doesn't.
reminding me of Jim Carrey's mask in this issue. Just the way that he's drawn. So I needed to pinpoint when that happened in pop culture. I do enjoy the Shatterstar moment with Saved by the Bell. I like that a lot. That was a good little character beat there. But I think the story's fun, and I think it's very silly, and I think it's good. Like, it's a good story to, like, put X-Force on, because they obviously, I mean, they were basically just kids for a lot of the run before this, but I think this is a good, like, showcase about, like, what they could be or can be, and don't always have to be, well, they were never the Murder Squad, let me just talk about that, but
Hold on, no, they
maybe did a couple of murders, maybe.
They super became the Murder Squad during Counter X, but that's not the point.
No, all my favorites were gone, so I didn't care anyway. I'm just being frank with you. But I like the cold open at the beginning of this also, where it's like, looks like it's gonna be super serious, and then it's just a volleyball game.
Well, and that's what I think, if you're going to do an Impossible Man annual, it's got to be silly, it's got to be fun, and it's got to have visual puns. And I don't think that the art is necessarily up to that challenge. Really, if you're going to do Impossible Man, it has to be very over the top. And there are a couple of fun gags, and I agree, the whole thing at the end where there's the island monster and they think it's Impossible Man, but it's not. The problem is that this whole thing really does get kind of pulled down by the plot, which is that Impossible Man wants his 3 slacker kids who are just, like, obsessed with sitting around and watching TV to be on the team.
They're very Gen X.
Yeah, and they're boring, like, which is fine.
Like I said, very Gen X, Adam.
Harsh burn. Some would argue that I'm a millennial. but when you devote time to like that as being the the reason for the story, I just don't know that it does much. But it's fine. I thought it was fun.
I don't know. I don't know either.
There's also a backup story in this with Domino shooting people that I don't remember what happened.
There's 2 dominoes and a grizzly and oh geez.
It's an arcade thing. It's fine. It's whatever.
Right. Yeah, and arcade looks kind of like he got his head stuck in a toaster. It's not.
That's from the Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale Gambit in Wolverine with Martinek, the mastermind.
Right. Yes.
Anyway,
so interesting.
Neither of those stories are on our list, but we do have 267 others. Starting with Dark Phoenix Saga at number 1. At number 50, we have X-Men Season 1. At number 100, we have Uncanny X-Men 101 to 103, The Leprechauns of Casa de Kip. At number 150, we have that first Juggernaut story. At number 200, we have X Campus, which is not good. Number 250, we have Pint Size X Babies Murder-Rama and some worse stories under that. I think there is a first question we need to answer, and this is important. And Charlie, you're specifically equipped to answer this one. Is it better or worse than 137, the X-Force road trip from 71 to 74?
It's not as good. It hurts me to say it, but the X-Force road trip was, I think at that point, Moore had kind of gotten into what he was going to do with X-Force, which sadly doesn't include a lot of the characters I like. But it knew what it was, and he knew what he was doing, and this is just a silly thing that I don't think is as good as that.
All right, well, how about this, guys? Because we have at 216, Shatterstar and Adam X versus Arcade. And then lower than that, we have Adam X's first appearance in X-Force Annual 2 at 221.
This is not as good as either of those stories.
Wait, hold on. No. This is... Okay, wait. Well, Charlie, This is better than Adam X's very first appearance. I can see the argument for that time that Adam X the Extreme was back and things had never been deadlier. Because I do love that.
I'll give it to you there. Like, that Adam X was also an X-Force Annual, his first appearance, and then I can't say that this is better than him and Star teaming up, especially with it's also a silly story, and maybe it's not that great, but it also has, like, some pretty good, like, character stuff for Star, certainly at the very end of that. So I can't put this above that.
I think for me, right below that is the Uncanny X-Men Gene Nation arc / Rogue and Iceman's road trip, and I think that is better than this.
Yep, it is.
This is definitely better than 219, which is X-Men Colossus Bloodline.
Yep.
Yes.
So is it better than X-Men 4 and 5, the introduction of the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants? That's a tough comparison right there. Yikes.
Again, it's not better than 4, it is better than 5.
All right, well then let's make it our new 219 and give X-Men 4 the edge. What do you think about that?
I'm fine with that, Charles.
That works for me.
All right. This is our new number 219. Also, didn't mention it when we were discussing it. At one point, Shatterstar talks a lot about Saved by the Bell.
Yes, he does. Those are those little character things that I've just I clawed onto, and that keeps going till today.
Well, we're gonna keep on keeping on. Moving into X-Force proper, numbers 63 and 64. This is called The Haunting of Castle Doom. It's written by Jean-Francis Moore, with pencils by Anthony Castrillo and Mark Pariejo. And it's about that time when Shatterstar fought some Nazis.
Well, did he, though?
It's very true.
Did he? Because we got to get a little bit into ghost logic here, because Are they touching things? All right, we should probably explain the plot of this because anybody who has not read these issues is going, "What is Adam talking about?
This is
what
a
is
very
Zach talking about?
So-
what is Charlie talking about?"
As you might recall from previous episodes of this podcast and previous issues of X-Force, one issue removed from this arc was the Shatterstar saga.
I accidentally read the issue between it. It's almost as bad as the Shatterstar saga.
That's the one where Shinobi Shaw looks like Knives, Vash Stampede's brother from the anime Trigun. Yes.
Nice.
I don't understand that reference, but keep going.
Oh my god! What? Okay, fine. Someone did.
It's canon on
that's
this
fine.
podcast that 2 animes that I have seen are the X-Men anime that I need $20 more and me and Luz Bianca will do a whole podcast about, and Neo Genesis Evangelion. Us.
That's wild.
I like how you mumble through that.
It's
Yeah,
such a
yeah,
long...
yeah.
Everyone knows what I'm talking about when I say Neo Genesis Evangelion. It's the one with the
Ninja.
Bible and the robots.
Ninja Turtle Evangelion.
Trigun is the space western anime.
That's...
where
Wait, no,
everybody's
wait.
plants.
Then what's Cowboy Bebop?
Also a space anime with space
Then why
pirates
is he
in
a
it,
cowboy?
but it doesn't taste... But it doesn't take place on a dystopian Earth in the far future where everybody's plants.
Wait, no, that's House of X. Charlie, what are you talking about?
Guys, can we get back to the important thing that's in this story, which is Littleville? Okay, let's break it down. Because Dr. Doom, who's currently missing from the planet Earth thanks to Onslaught, has a thing inside of his castle from the Silver Age where he can shrink people down and put them into a little town. And
No,
they're like little people.
okay. If it were only that simple,
No, I know
Adam.
they're not. They're little tiny people clones of themselves, while the
Yeah.
real person is like hooked up to them via Bluetooth. Is that right?
That's
Guys,
basically what's
before we
happened.
continue with this Littleville discourse, I need to ask. We need to do a game here. Who can guess the closest issue of Fantastic Four where Littleville first appears? Adam, you're the Fantastic Four guy out of all of us, so
Well, that's not true. I mean, I've read a couple runs.
just give me your guess.
25.
25. Charlie, what's your guess?
Okay, I'm gonna go Price is Right rules, so I'm gonna go closer but not over. So I'm gonna say 15.
You're both way wrong. It's 236.
Whoa!
This is a John Byrne creation right here, where he made little people.
The gift that won't stop giving.
I like it less now.
Anyway, Dr. Doom has a tiny town, and he puts some members of X-Force in it. Then what happens?
Well, Boom Boom is in Littleville. Well, why are they there? They're there because X-Force, because Onslaught has taken Dr. Doom off the planet, I guess, somewhere. X-Force is teaming up with Reed Richards' time-traveling father, who has informed them that there is a time machine inside the castle that needs to be destroyed.
And you know Cable's horny for time machines.
Yep.
And he wants to blow it up. So while they're doing recon, Boom Boom accidentally gets put into Littleville with a guy who claims to be the heir to the throne. And then they all accidentally step on the time thingy and get ghosted back to World War II.
Listen, they don't accidentally step on the time
Oh,
thingy.
it blows up.
The man that I can't remember what his name is
Dimitri?
because he's that unimportant to me, throws a grenade in which causes everything to explode, and then they turn into ghosts and go back in time.
Yes.
And fight Nazis.
You mean it?
Yes.
That was a grenade? It kind of looks like a soda. Doesn't it kind of look like a
Listen,
soda?
the art's also not great here.
Yeah, the art is worse in this one. And really, this was the 90s, so who's to say what the reaction of a Doctor Doom time platform and a Surge would do?
That's true. That could have actually just caused this entire situation.
We should also mention that several cast members are just kind of chilling on the periphery, not involved in the story whatsoever, and tapping their toes and waiting for the rest of them to come back.
Sunspot, Caliban, and Jimmy are all just hanging out.
Just waiting. It's great. The second issue of this is just way more bananas than the first. And speaking of John Byrne, the art here is strangely like aping his style on many occasions.
Although I will have to say, the cover to issue 64 is really good.
When Shatterstar is doing a Days of Future Past kind of looked.
Yes, and I really love the caption.
Those meddling mutants.
It's really good.
Oh boy. There's also an interesting coloring effect that they use on this issue where like the X-Force guys, since they're ghosts, are supposed to look a little washed out in the colors. And all right, so let's get back to my original concern here. They're ghosts. They on multiple occasions prove that they can walk through walls, and yet when it comes down to fight scenes, they can blow stuff up and use their powers against things. I don't understand.
There's little to no logic here. I don't understand why we've established that we can ghost through stuff, but then become tangible at will.
Yeah, when they talk, the people who are in that time period are like, did you hear something? I didn't hear anything. But then they're seen by troops, and then they attack, and then Richter can use his powers and like blow a hole in the castle. I don't know. And then what's great about this though, part of I really enjoyed is that this is a time paradox, because there's a Baron von Strucker plot to assassinate the heir's great grandfather or whatever, and he's not sure if he's there to help save him or to wait and see how he's saved. I liked that part. That was kind of clever.
I think out of the two issues, I think this one is much better because it's not all set up. It's actually X-Force doing stuff. And it is like wild. Like the fact that they go back in time and become ghosts and fight Nazis, like it's wild. But it does have some really good moments in it. Star cutting a Nazi's hand off and Rick being really rude to them. Both really good things. But I don't know. You know, I don't know how much I can be like, this is fun and I like it, and this is not great.
Yeah, here's the thing.
Also, no one's costumes match. Like, this is where we're getting to an era where nobody's costumes match anymore.
Yeah, the costumes are weird in these.
This story's not actually good, right? This one's kind of bad.
It has fun elements to it. But it is kind of a mess. Like, just art-wise, the way it's scripted, I don't understand how any of this is logic at all. The only part of this story that does make sense is the guys hanging back. And even that has like this stupid added wrinkle of somebody passing out. And you're like, why? What is this? Somebody hands somebody a CD and they're like, whoa, you know, what is this?
Look.
Yeah, also, I'm not the best. As much as I liked some of this era and the stuff before this, like before the Shatterstar Saga stuff, like I'm not the biggest fan of Caliban even being a member of the team.
Caliban's the worst in this. He's just a dummy.
Yeah.
Yeah, the John Francis Moore X-Force actually really like kicks into gear in the next issue, because that's when Risque shows up and they get a cool logo that looks like a spray paint. And
except for that, Jimmy starts the way he looks just like all morphs all throughout X-Force's run. Like he looks nothing like Jimmy looks now or even looked in the very beginning.
Oh yeah.
Look,
in this middle part.
I still love it. Should we rank this one?
It's good. We should.
Should we rank this one? Okay.
I think we should rank it before GW Bridge tries to arrest us, because he's so sick of us.
Oh man, GW Bridge.
Bridge.
Also the gift that won't stop giving.
You're never going to arrest Cable, even if he's standing in front of you, not posing you any threat whatsoever.
This is worse than 219. This is worse than the Beach Annual.
I would agree with that.
Yes.
I would also say this is worse than that X-Force Annual 2, the first appearance of Adam X. I would say this is worse than New Mutants 98 to 100, which is at 223.
Oh, is it that? Where's two? Yeah, it's.
I
worse than
don't
that.
know about that one.
I do.
Come on.
It's better than 226, the Excalibur London Hellfire Club.
All right.
I think it's about the same level of, okay, whatever, it's the 90s nonsense. Like where the X-Books were trying to find their feet again.
I like this better than Leprechaun Murder Mystery.
Okay, because I was going to ask if you liked it better or worse than Curse of the Mutants.
Oh.
This has time.
They're kind of weirdly on par, aren't they?
They're both a mess. I think the art is better in Curse of Mutants, but this has time travel in it. And
This does.
has Shatterstar cutting hands off Nazis.
Yes.
I don't know. I've had more fun reading this, I think.
Well, then let's put it at the new 224, right under New Mutants 98 to 100.
Perfect.
X-Force, The Hunting of Castle Doom.
Can I talk to you just really quick before we move on about how I also have the floppy of this, and as soon as you open it, there's an ad for Captain Crunch.
Oh, nice.
That's very good. That's one of Shatterstar's top 7 serials.
That's very true.
Are they ranked? What's his number one?
A Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
CTC!
That's a pretty good choice. Captain Crunch cuts up your mouth. I don't really like it. as
Yeah,
much.
it's really, you really got to watch yourself with that.
yeah.
But Oops All Berries is also up
Yeah,
there.
actually, wait. Let's talk for 1 second. Let's move into the newest segment of this podcast that I like to call Shatterstar Cereal Corner.
Shatterstar Cereal Corner.
Thank you for those mouth sounds. That was so good. My question to you, because someone I worked with at one point posed this to me, and I thought he was speaking like madman. Captain Crunch, Crunch berries are essential or not?
No.
No. Yes?
You're both wrong.
Are we?
Crunch
Listen, Peanut Butter Captain Crunch is better than any Captain Crunch with crunch berries in it, although the fun and nostalgia factor of Oops All Berries kind of outweighs Peanut Butter Captain Crunch.
But then that's just tricks, isn't it?
No, they taste totally different.
All right. It's been a while
Oops
since
All
I've had
Berry,
these.
Oops All Berries is not as fun as since you can just buy it at all times. Oops All Berries needs to be a special thing where the factory messed up.
Correct. So
There's
Oops
no
All Berries,
oops anymore.
Yeah,
It's
Oops
just
All
you can
Berries
buy
is
it.
just you can just get it anywhere now, but it is worse than Peanut Butter Captain Crunch in taste. But Captain Crunch really isn't the best because it also gets soggy in cereal very, very quickly. So you kind of are on a time limit when you're eating Captain Crunch, but I would just say you should always eat Cinnamon Toast Crunch instead.
Yeah, because it's
Okay.
not made of fiberglass insulation.
Well, speaking of which, my 3-year-old did just barge into the room during Shatterstar Cereal Corner. Now, let me ask him, what's your favorite cereal?
Fruit Loops.
Fruit Loops?
Yes!
Yeah,
Good
but-
choice.
Very
What's
solid.
not
Very,
milk?
very solid.
I just like corn waffles.
Okay, let's go take you back to your mommy. You're not supposed to be down here during Daddy's recording. I'm back. Thanks, sorry for that. Children are children. And boys will be boys, I guess. I don't know. I'm pretty sure that's not something we say anymore because it has a toxic connotation to it in our
It's
culture.
okay. Edit it in post.
Speaking of toxic comics in our culture, we have one last story to talk about.
Toxic!
Stop it!
How dare you? How dare you insult a sequel to my favorite story of all time, as Guardian Wars? This is amazing. This is...
Adam, are you doing a parody of yourself?
Well, I'm reading this is X-Force and Cable Annual from 1997, The Journey Back to Asgard. And I'm like, oh, okay, this could be cool. I'm liking this. No, I'm not liking this.
Okay, I was about to say, because this one, guys, this one's a weirdo one.
It is
this
a
one.
very wasted opportunity. This story could be amazing. It has Malekith in it.
Okay, hold on. Charlie, how much Thor have you read?
Very, very little.
Adam, how much Thor have you read?
I have read up through the middle of the Jane Foster stuff.
Okay, here's what I'm going to say. There's only been 2 good Malekith stories ever, and one of them just ended. So Malekith actually kind of sucks. The other one's the Cask of Ancient Winters from the Simonson run. Turns out Walt Simonson, pretty good at Thor.
Good at comics.
Good at comics. Yeah. Yes. I will also say that Malekith story that just ended, it's a pretty long story.
It is.
Yes.
But even before the War of the Realms was set up, the first Malekith story with the League of the Realms, it's actually one of the weaker ones in Aaron's run. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. I liked it, but
it came right after the God Butcher and the God Bomb, and that's just such a step down.
Yeah. All right.
Like Assad Ribic said, I don't really want to draw this one, guys.
Well, this is not offering me what I want. Danny Moonstar has been hanging out with the MLF and a
Forearm, to be specific.
strangely casually dressed forearm, which I was
Let
not...
Michael McCain do what he does. Let him relax.
He's got to have downtime, too.
That's right. He can't always be wearing gear and suspenders and lederhosen. They are attacked by what I guess was a Cerberus, but is actually 3 different dogs. Okay. The Valkyrie are all dead because they all seem to be regularly.
Again.
And
yeah, everyone freaks out when the Valkyries all die. No, that happens.
Happens weekly. And they have to travel back through the castle from X-Men and Alpha Flight, which I was like, okay, this could be cool. And no, it's not. There's not a lot happens. Everybody's fine at the end. I mean, did anything happen in this issue that we need to be aware of?
I mean, they all kind of, you know what it is? It was kind of just like X-Force revisits that one really good X-Men story.
Yeah, but not in like a fun or interesting way.
Yeah, because it's very by the numbers. It's very much like, honestly, it's very much like, hey, you remember that cool thing that happened last time we were here? Yeah. It talks about X-Men Alpha Flight, but it also talks about the last time that the New Mutants were here.
Yeah.
With the death of the Hela story.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Hela shows up in this. I completely forgot.
She's a pushover here, man.
Yeah, she's not the really strong MILF energy that we got in Thor Ragnarok at all.
No, I'll say that. I do like Caliban throwing Shatterstar.
That one's good. That part's a good one.
I also really love, let me just talk to you about the things I really love, since we're sounding like a bit of a downer here.
Oh, definitely. We're in downtown.
Yeah, we're downtown right now. I really love when Star says, hey, I could live in Asgard because it suits my warrior nature better. And Rick says, don't give me that. Your warrior nature could never survive without pizza. Sorry, those lines just real good. I just love them a lot.
Look, John Francis Moore, when he wrote Shatterstar and Richter, did a good job, even though it did not happen very much.
No, it did not, and I'm kind of sad about it because that's kind of like I take little bits and bobs from places, and I'm just like, yeah, that seems good and right. Also, why is everyone's outfit purple except for Rick's? Is it because he came back too late?
Maybe. Sure.
I don't know. Maybe. Yeah, that sounds good.
Why does Shatterstar have a knowledge of elves and goblins, of folktales?
Oh, let me talk to you about that line. Someone's teaching him those things, and I don't know what it is.
No, I have a theory on this. One weirdly specific character trait of one of the best of the X-Force, that is, of course, James Proudstar, is that he likes to read. So I like to think that James Proudstar just read Lord of the Rings, and then Bobby DaCosta was like, oh, dang, Sam loved those books. He told me everything about them. And they started talking about it, and then Caliban and Shatterstar were around, and they just absorbed like the third or fourth hand energy of that.
Okay.
That true, because Star's very suspicious of elves and fairies.
Another thing that happens in this story is that Danny Moonstar's psionic arrows just sort of do whatever the story needs them to do so that we can get this thing wrapped up. So they kill, they reanimate, they blow things up. I mean, like, I just...
And she doesn't like Cable very much.
Of course not, I guess. I don't know. This is a bit of a mess. It has a couple of fun moments to it, and I wish that the callbacks to past interactions and characters were more fun, but they're not. So I can't get into this one.
Yeah, I wish some of the stuff that happened in this was good. Here's what I've kind of picked up about John Francis Moore. John Francis Moore is really good at character interactions. John Francis Moore just kind of goes on wild streaks with plot.
Yeah.
He just says, this is what we're doing now. And it doesn't always work, or it doesn't often work if I'm being real fair to him. But his character stuff is real good. And that's nice.
You had to also really understand, and I know this is an annual, so like you could do whatever you really wanted with it. But you have to think about, like, Jeff Loeb didn't leave him a lot of room to work with, considering the last story he wrote was incomprehensible.
This is true.
So where do you pick up from that? Like, it's basically someone handing you something that's already on fire, and you're like, okay.
Let me piece something together with these ashes.
Yes.
All right, well, let's rank it. Is it better than the Shatterstar saga at 258?
Yes. It makes sense, and we don't turn into reading a manga at the end.
Okay. Better than 252 Pint Size X Babies Murder-rama, Zach?
Maybe. Here's what I know it's not better than. It's not better than Wildcats X-Men at 239.
No. Nope.
Yeah, I mean, as close as X-Force is to a covert action team, who's an unauthorized one at that, they aren't as good as the Wildcats X-Men story. Is this better than those Star Trek stories?
I don't think it's better than Heroes for Hope at 244.
What about that story with the Neo? This is probably better than the Captain Marvel story with Adam X the Extreme.
Yeah.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
Yeah, that was pretty bad. And the first Star Trek X-Men is better than the second one.
Yes.
So do we break up the Star Treks?
No, we put it below Star Trek Next Generation and above the Neo.
Perfect.
I think.
All right, so that would make it our new
That's
247.
fine.
This is our new 247, the X-Force and Cable annual from the year 1997.
Rad.
You know, it just came on your podcast to like backfill the list, I think.
No, we needed it. Sometimes people are like, oh, talk about all these good stories that I like. And I'm like, guys, I'm here for the trash. I'm a garbage pail. Put trash in me.
I'm here to have my expectations raised very highly and then thrown down into the ravine and stepped upon.
Adam, I'm so sorry.
No.
I'm so sorry that this last story didn't do your favorite story of all time
Oh,
justice.
of course not. Nothing is going to. You know what I mean? Even the second round of Asgard in New Mutants doesn't do the first one justice. So, that being said, I think we've ranked 3, and we're doing pretty good here. Is Zach still with us, or did we lose him?
No, I'm definitely still
He
here.
is
I'm sorry.
here.
My son is in the room, and he's trying to hit me with a Bugs Bunny pillow, which is against the rules of laying in bed with your headphones on while Daddy records his podcast about X-Men. So that's 3 stories. I first want to thank Charlie. Charlie, thank you so much for being on the show tonight. It was a real joy.
The way you said that makes me think it wasn't, but
like that.
I'm having quite a recording session on my end, guys.
I understand that. Well, thank you for inviting me on. I love to talk about the things that make me happy, but also sad sometimes.
Perfect. Charlie, where can people find you if you would like to be found?
Yeah, well, you can find me at Genetic Ghost on Twitter, where I'm not super yelly about anything recently, but talk about X-Men, talk about the things I write, talk about when my not defunct podcast, The Young Ones, updates, because sometime we will update the podcast. It will become regular again.
To be fair, Adam and I have been on the podcast more recently than, the rest of the team.
Aw, hi.
That's true. Oh, man. But that's where you can find my stuff. Today's been a real interesting recording.
Well, Zach, you should probably thank our...
I love you, Adam.
Aw. Who does he love?
This is good.
He said, I love you, Adam, and he
Oh.
doesn't know Charlie's name.
Right back at you, buddy.
That's very good.
Zach, where can people find you?
People can find me on Twitter at XavierFiles at XavierFiles.com, which is my website where you can find all the latest and greatest of X-Men news, updates, and whatever stuff, except for Hoxpox Talks, which is our analysis into the House of X and Powers of 10, which you can now find exclusively on Polygon.com.
You gotta shoot it over to me.
I'm sorry, Adam. Adam, where can people find you? I am dealing with this 3-year-old the best I can.
Guys, you can always follow me on Twitter at Arthur Stacy. New pages of Bish and Jubes, The Crosstime Conundrum, come out every X-Men Monday at adamrec.tumblr.com. And I was recently a guest on Dan Grote's WMQ&A podcast. It was really fun. Hey, what's up?
You're silly, Adam.
And you guys can check that out. Zach asked me a question, Charlie asked me a question, and it was really fun. And Zach, what are we talking about next week?
Next week, we're going to talk about Spider-Man.
Ooh, I like Spider-Man.
And his amazing friends. His friends that are the X-Men. It'll be a good time to be had by all. But until then, this has been Battle of the Atom, and we hope you survived the experience. I sure don't think I did.
Get it!
Come on, bud.
This is great.
You gotta go upstairs. No, you can't sit down here, buddy. Stop bear crawling. You can't.
He's like, I want to be in Shatterstar's cereal corner.
Cereal corner? I mean, I could talk about cereal.
I can see you
Ever?
under the covers. You're not hiding very well.
That boy has opinions.
Yes, I mean, Fruit Loops are good. They're not as good as... Well, fun fact about cereal, if you didn't know, Adam, did you know they stopped making cereal with wheat and instead make it with corn now? So it actually just universally tastes
Say bye,
better.
Yeah, I mean that tracks with the whole corn industry, right?
What?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I think that makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, not health wise, but
Yeah. So it's a whole thing, but also Lucky Charms aren't as good as you think they are or were at any point in time.
I never liked Lucky Charms. My wife and my daughter like them, but nah, that's not that's not me. That's not me.
Yeah,
right?
that's not me. I don't roll that way.
I mean, I like Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
No, it's the best.
Yeah, it's pretty good. We bought a box of Apple Jacks this week. I've been digging that. That's been nice.
Applejack's also really good.
Solid.
It's very solid. I really liked the really like Honey Nut Cheerios.
Solid.
Like I just like a classic Honey Nut Cheerios.
Yeah.
Also, like anything I do like Pops, or I used to like Pops. I'm not so sure about how I feel about them now. And Honey Smacks.
Ooh.
You think they're good, and they kind of are, but they leave that weird film on your mouth.
See, I'm having much fonder memories of Pops from going to a Catskill country club as a child, and they always had those little boxes of cereal at breakfast, and you never really knew what they were going to have. But inevitably there was a box of Pops, and the grandparents, the old people that used to go to the Catskills thing, never really touched the Pops. So you could always guarantee you were going to get some Pops.
They were always going to be there.
They were there.
Yeah.
They were good. And there was
I love the mini packs of cereal. I aesthetically love the small tiny boxes of cereal. It's
it's perfect.
They don't sell them in the little tiny boxes usually anymore. They have them in the little pouches you can peel back, the little plastic bowls you can peel back and then just put milk directly in, which is easier, but nothing really beats the aesthetic of a small tiny box of like Frosted Flakes.
Well, you can, I don't know. I mean, at least the grocery store I go to, they still sell like an 8-pack and you can buy the little boxes, but the variety is never there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
There's only like a handful in there. Yeah.
You're going to get like Raisin Bran and you're going to be like, I don't mind Raisin Bran, but I didn't want.
Not even Raisin Bran Crunch. Jeez.
Nope. It's going to be that and like Frosted Flakes and some other stuff that, you're not as excited about. Like I want the more unique stuff in there. Like give me a good sampler.
Yeah, Frosted Flakes, still good, pretty solid. Trix, they don't taste as good as they used to because, again, they make them with corn now.
Yeah. I think it's a while since I've had Trix. Good God.
I mean, I do enjoy cereal. I never really like eating cereal in the morning. Like, cereal is always something I really want, like, right before I'm about to go to sleep.
I'm the same way. It's like a good dessert. You just, pour out. I'm lactose intolerant too, so like I just eat it. I don't pour milk on it, which I guess I could do that with.
Well, they're good. Like dry cereal is good like that.
Yeah.
Like
It's good to munch
I'd
on.
say some cereal is better dry than it is with milk on it. So
I like how we've just taken this over, and this is now a cereal podcast. And there will inevitably be no edits made to this whatsoever, and Zach will just have to deal with the fact that a good chunk of the podcast is just you and I talking about cereal.
He brought it up. I thought he was going to ask me like Shatterstar's top 7 cereals, and I could tell you them, but he didn't ask me that question.
Well, of course you thought that's an important. Important
no, you did a really good job picking movies, also, by the way.
Oh, thank you. I wasn't sure if I was going in the right direction with the action adventure plus some form of bum nudity, but that's sort of where I thought Shatterstar's interests might lie. I don't know.
No, it's good. Terminator 2, definitely, absolutely something that they watched together. There was so many action movies in the 90s. Like they're a really big fan of Independence Day also.
Oh yeah, that's a good pick.
Yeah,
I just thought that he would really dig something like high intensity, very action adventure, macho, whereas I kind of imagined that Richter would want to slow it down a little bit. You know what I mean?
A little bit, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, he's back.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I'm back. I just got here. If you're going to sit down here with your headphones, you have to be quiet, okay?
Hi.
Hey.
We just had like a 10-minute convo about cereal.
Yeah, I believe
You
it.
don't even have to edit it out. It was great.
We'll see what happens in post.
All right. Well,
All right, let me just jump in here. Anyway,